You are listening to Radio Long Island City, recorded at our studios near Hell Gate, 9 kilometers north of the Harbor Hill Moraine. And now, the Observatory. The Observatory, Thursday the 7th of May, 2026. It is 48 days after the spring equinox. It is 45 days before the summer solstice. In today's episode, new plantings, an adventurous lad from Japan, the Lusitania, the Chattanooga Choo-Choo, microplastics, and J Balvin. The sun rises today at 5:47 a.m. Solar noon takes place today at 12:52 p.m. The sun sets today at 7:58 p.m., civil twilight ends at 8:29 p.m., and nautical twilight ends at 9:06 p.m. The length of daytime today is 2 minutes, 11 seconds longer than yesterday. The moon is in its waning gibbous phase and is 71% full at midday. The moon rises today at 12:51 a.m., and then it sets at 9:51 a.m. These are the predicted tides today for Horn's Hook. In the wee hours, high tide, 2:31 a.m., 1 meter 46. In the morning, low tide, 8:50 a.m., 12 centimeters. In the afternoon, high tide, 3:05 p.m., 1 meter 28. In the evening, low tide, 9:05 p.m., 30 centimeters. In our shared realm of plants and animals, gardening tips from the masters. There is a front yard garden near 14th Street that's almost completely given over to growing food. The yard is all paved in concrete, but it's completely covered with recycled plastic tubs and wooden planting boxes. Neat pathways in between make everything easy to access and care for. In the last few days, the wooden planting boxes must have been seeded with new crops for the season, because over each box, racks from old refrigerators have been carefully placed to protect the soil from birds and burrowing squirrels. The racks are of all shapes and sizes, clearly collected over time. Martha Stewart would pop a gasket, but it's a neat, tidy, and efficient way of protecting the newly sown seeds. Commemorations. On this day in 1843, Manjiro Nakahama arrived in the United States. He is often referred to as the first Japanese immigrant to the USA, but that doesn't capture the full dimensions of his life. At the age of 14, he was working as a fisherman. He and a crew of 4 others had departed their fishing village in southern Japan when they were caught in a violent storm. They ended up marooned on an island 300 miles from home. 5 months later, the American whaling captain, William Whitfield, found them, and he took them aboard his ship. He dropped off 4 of the crew in Honolulu, but Manjiro opted to stay on, and Whitfield brought him home to his hometown, Fairhaven, Massachusetts. Manjiro learned English and received an education, both practical and academic. 7 years later, he left for Japan, arriving in Okinawa in 1851. On his return, he was detained and questioned by the authorities, because at the time Japan was still a closed society, and leaving was a capital offense. However, it ended well. He received the rank of samurai, and he worked the rest of his life as a translator and diplomat for Japan. The month of May was chosen as Asian and Pacific American Heritage Month in honor of Manjiro Nakahama and his arrival on our shores. On this day in 1915, the British ocean liner Lusitania was torpedoed by a German U-boat off the coast of Ireland. Bound from New York to Liverpool, she sank just 20 minutes later. Of 1,900 passengers and crew, 1,200 drowned. The sinking of the Lusitania shocked the American public and helped set the stage for our entry into World War I. On this day in 1941, Glenn Miller and his orchestra recorded their hit song, Chattanooga Choo-Choo. It would be the first record to be designated as a gold record, selling 1.2 million copies. On this day in 2004, marine biologist Richard Thompson published a paper, Lost at Sea, Where is All the Plastic? It first introduced the term microplastics and was one of the first warnings of the way plastic waste is infiltrating every part of the environment. What shall we do to wean ourselves of plastics? Today we wish a happy birthday to J Balvin, born this day in 1985 in Medellin, Colombia. The master of reggaeton is known for massive hits like Mi Gente, La Canción, and I Like It. He has collaborated with such stars as Cardi B, Bad Bunny, and Beyoncé. He's kept his roots in Colombia, but we hear he has a place in New York too. Feliz cumpleaños, Hey Balvin. Today, the first Thursday in May, is World Password Day. It's our yearly reminder to change our passwords, choose better ones, and set up two-step verifications for our online accounts, and to make sure we're not storing our passwords on our devices. Finally, today is Dien Bien Phu Victory Day in Vietnam, marking the day the Vietnamese defeated French forces in that city and saw off their colonial masters. And that is the Observatory, Thursday the 7th of May, 2026.